Let's talk about the shocking news that came in earlier today. Police, Spanish police, it appears, have found human remains as part of their search for British teenager Jay Slater in Tenerife. We're pleased to be joined now by Peter Bleksley, former Met Police detective. Peter, very good afternoon to you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
We speak sometimes and we get angry, and sometimes it's tragic, and this is another story. I don't understand enough about this story. Fill me in. This is a kid, a 19-year-old from Lancashire, hasn't been heard of for well over a month. The civil guard says that whilst a formal identification needs to take place, all evidence suggests they found some stuff that belonged to Jay Slater near the remains. They say he may have suffered an accident or a fall. What else do we know, Pete?
Well, it's 4 weeks ago today that Jay Slater was reported missing by his friend and travelling companion that he went to Tenerife with. He travelled out there with two friends to attend a music festival called NRG in Playas de las Americas. And after he'd left that music event one evening, he got in a car with two men and went on a journey of about an hour to a place called Masca in the north of Tenerife. When he left these men's apartment on the Monday morning, 4 weeks ago today, he took a Snapchat photograph of himself, but most importantly, he rang his friend Lucy and told her that he had 1% power left on his battery, on his mobile phone, that he had nothing to drink and that he was thirsty and that he was in unfamiliar terrain. In other words, he was in a fairly mountainous, craggy, rugged, difficult to negotiate part of the northern part of the island of Tenerife. His friend rightfully was concerned and reported him missing to police just a couple of hours later. Thereafter, the Guardia Civil, the Spanish police, launched a hunt for Jay using whatever resources were at their disposal. And that was essentially a helicopter, sometimes, drones, search dogs, firefighters who were used to tackling blazes in that part of the land, a mountain rescue team, and they didn't manage to find anything until today, 4 weeks later, when they found remains, which, whilst there has been no positive identification, all the pointers are that this, sadly and tragically, is Jay Slater.
We had the story a couple of months ago about that BBC doctor who slipped or fell and was out in hot conditions and passed. I mean, he was 250 yards from a restaurant, for goodness sake. Are there other beliefs around this, or do they think this is a tragic sort of, you know, is an accident, or are people believing there could be more to this story? Because I found it really weird, right? I'm just being honest with you. Seems to be in the papers every single day about they're scaling back the police operation. The parents want money out of the GoFund package, and the dad says this and the mother says that. Seems to have been it seems to have been sort of reported in a slightly weird way, Pete. Would you agree with me?
Well, I think the reason the story garnered so much attention was that it was a very ordinary story about young people going to a Spanish island for a holiday.
Yeah.
It happens thousands upon thousands of times. But this ordinary story became very extraordinary because of some of the factors, like he left the club with these two elder men and drove for an hour in a vehicle. And all of these kind of things merely fueled the fire of the armchair detectives, the online sleuths, and all those people who have got nothing better to do with their lives other than to spread conspiracy theories, gossip, rumour, and claptrap. And this went on and on and on for 4 weeks, was very, very hurtful to the family, and quite frankly, achieved diddly squat.
Well, listen, let's hope we get, you know, some more on that. I hope it isn't him, but if it is, I hope that puts, you know, the family. I mean, I don't know how you go through that sort of stuff anyway. It's absolutely outrageous. But thanks, Pete. And also, just very quickly before you go, you like a bit of football. We'll have a Peter Bleksley special. Your response to last night, I wasn't shocked at all. I think I was more shocked that Labour won. What did you make of the game of football last night, England's pathetic performance?
Some time ago, you posed the question to me, live, on air, will England win the Euros? To which I instantly responded a resounding no. What I will say about last night is that the beer in my house was chilled and the half-time burgers cooked by my wife were magnificent.
Are you in the doghouse? Why are you complimenting the War Office this afternoon on the telly? What's going on? Have you misbehaved? What's going on?
Because I'm married to the greatest woman on earth, and if I get the opportunity to heap praise like I rightly should do, then I will.
If you could see Peter Bleksley, if you're listening on the radio, his left arm is up behind his back and you can see his hand by his ear. She's got hold of him whilst he said that. Time for Southgate to go, PB?
Yes, maybe it's time for a change, but we need to recognise his tremendous achievements. I think what he did do was get club players playing for their country as if they were playing for their club. In other words, as if they enjoyed it and as if they enjoyed one another's company, no matter what club they played for.
And let's just ask the million-dollar question. Is it the end of the road for Harry Kane? Now, I thought I'm sorry, people won't like this. I thought it was a liability. I think he should have been rested. I don't think he was fit. Southgate said today we couldn't get him up to speed. I know when people are icons and all that, he's done an awful lot of good. But you know what? You'd have looked at that and you'd have gone, Anthony Gorton, Carlton Palmer, Kobe Mainoo, you know, Ollie Watkins. Why weren't they playing from the beginning? Ridiculous.
The truly astonishing thing is that Harry Kane has won as many team professional football medals as I have.
How many have you won, Peter Bleksley?
None.
Brilliant. So